It's always a pleasure to share to be on CTC platform and share the knowledge over here. Thanks a lot, participants, to be over here on this rainy morning. I know we have been procrastinating GST, but you don't have any choice. At the end of the day, we have to file GST annual returns, right? So we are back over here. We did a lot of sessions in 17-18, and we are back with sessions for 18-19. I'll just share my screen. So just before I start, there are a few disclaimers, standard disclaimers, that views expressed are completely personal. You need to have your own due diligence before you take a professional call on whatever we discuss over here. The intention of the webinar is to discuss practical aspects of GSTR 9. So we are not going to go much into the theoretical aspects or technical aspects of various sections and all that. We are going to stick to what is required to be done to fill up the GSTR 9 form. We'll be in consultants' shoes over here, and exactly what are the steps that we need to follow to ensure that the filing that we do is accurate. Be interactive in the session. Feel free to ask questions. I mean, for me, it is as good as I am speaking to a screen. So I don't know whether you are awake or you have slept. I don't know how many of you are forced to join this webinar by your principals, right? So please be active on the chat box. I might ask you a few questions over there, so that if you are active, and that is the only way that I can really see that, okay, people are still there with me. So please be active on the chat box. Feel free to ask questions. And I mentioned some tools over here, some softwares over here. They are in no way an endorsement to solve that softwares. There are various alternatives available in the market. What I have mentioned over here is something that I am using. There might be something better out there. So, just explore all the sites. And please excuse me for not having any fancy slides. Okay, I've not done any kind of animation on any of the slides. My idea of preparing this was, to share with you guys what we have structured in our form while doing this audits, while filling up annual returns, and a lot of it is on Excel sheets. So it's a good thing that we are on virtual mode, and I can share my screen, and you can have a good view at it. So a lot of the presentation is on Excel sheet. So please bear with me on that front. Before I start, I just wanted to push a poll question. So Charvi, if you can help me out with that. Basically, what I wanted to know, just to have a understanding of the audience that we have, is that how many of us have filed or worked on GSTR 9 for 17-18. And if you are not done, if you have worked on GSTR 9 for 17-18, please vote as yes. And if you have not worked on GSTR 9 for 17-18, please vote as no. This will really help me in understanding how many of us are looking at this forms for the first time, and how many of us are just here to revise the whole thing. Okay, so it's 57% have worked on GSTR 9 for 17-18, and 44% have not worked. So a lot of people have not worked, and a lot of people have already worked. So for few, I understand that it's more of a revision, and for few, it is they might be looking at it for the first time. So this really helps. Thanks a lot, everyone, for being participative over there. Cool. So yes. So we'll move ahead. So let us directly dive into the subject. And the agenda for discussion is, the flow of the discussion is in this way: that first we'll be discussing on groundwork for GST annual returns. Is before we start filing the GSTR 9 form, what is the groundwork that we are required to do? What are the things that we need to have at one place so that we can start working on it? And thereafter, maybe we will go into a clause by clause analysis of GST annual return, and basically where to put what and what are the challenges in the current form. So this is a slide which gives you a complete picture of what are the steps, or what are the things that you have to do on day one when you start your work, right? So instead of just going there and starting to work on preparing the annual return, it's better if we do this groundwork and just download and ensure that all these details are available with us in the folder, right? So you need to have all your GSTR1 and 3B downloaded in a particular folder. You need to download your electronic cash and credit ledger in Excel. PDS is of not much of help. You need to download your GST challans paid. You need to download your GSTR2A. You need to download dump of all invoices uploaded in GSTR1. So this will, GSTR2A will give the dump of all invoices that your suppliers have uploaded, and the dump of all invoices as uploaded in GSTR1, that also you get at a particular place, at one place. Ensure that you also download details of the credit notes that you have uploaded in GSTR1. Now, the way we do in our firm is we use ClearTax for doing this because we get everything in one download. There might be other, I guess there are a few other products also available. So the challenge that I understand is that in the GST portal, for example, if you have to download GSTR2A, then you have to do it month by month, right? And then aggregate all files. So that's a lot of task, and as usual, it takes a lot of time whenever you have to do anything on GST side. So it will take at least 15 to 20 minutes for 1 month's data to get updated over there, and then you download and then work on it. So yeah, that is why we are using some tools to expedite all those things. Yeah, so the key point over here is a lot of time mistakes that we do is that we download the invoices, but we don't download the parallel credit notes. So even in GSTR2A, if your supplier has issued a credit note in your name, you need to ensure that you are downloading that data as well. So just ensure that this thing is in place. Have all the relevant GST ledgers from books, okay, or books of accounts. So if your client is using Tally, so then simple thing that we do is, we simply take the Tally data and start working on it. But if you're working with a larger client, then they might not be comfortable in giving you complete books of accounts, or it might not be possible practically. And if they are using different softwares, then you might not be well equipped to use those softwares. In that scenario, you need to ensure that you just have all the GST related ledgers, the tax related ledgers at your place in your system, so that this can help you at a later stage. Sales register, purchase register, very basic. Working of all GST returns filed, just ensure that the workings done for filing 3B for GSTR1 are there with you at one place, and working and details of transaction disclosed in next financial year, or transactions of previous financial disclosed in current relevant year. So there will be some unique items like while filing any 3B of, let us say, financial year 18-19, which we are discussing right now. In some of the 3B, there will be transactions which were actually of 17-18, and the effect of that has been given in 18-19. In a similar way, there will be some transactions of 18-19, the effect of which is given in somewhere in 1920s 3B. So you need to ensure that all this type of transactions and all these things which are scattered are there at one place. Once you have got all these things, all this thing at one place, you will realize that a lot of your work will get expedited, because now while preparing, you're not getting stuck at some place and then you are trying to figure out कि अच्छा ये data मैं कहाँ से ढूंढूं, ये कहाँ पे होगा, ये कहाँ पे होगा. It is always better that you simply ensure that at least these are the basic things. At least you have this documents or this details with you before you start your work, right? Am I clear so far? So chat is disabled. So now the way I structured the presentation is that first I will take you through all the output related items and what are we supposed to do to verify this output related items, and thereafter I will take you through all the input related items and what are the actions that we need to take on the input related items, and then the other items. So let us first go to output related items. So the first thing that we do once our all these documents, as I said, are in place, is internally what we say is GSTR 3B versus 1 versus books. So I'll just show you. So this is the Excel sheet. This is the format that we have created in our firm for just plotting all the data for GSTR 3B versus 1 versus books. Uh, so to be very frank, a lot of this data is available to you if you are using some software. But in our firm, what we realize is that the data that we get automatically downloaded through those softwares is not helpful enough for us. So my team has suggested me that okay, we might use that data for some extent, but it's always better for us to plot that data in the format that is displayed on your screen, because everything comes at one place. I'll just run you through the format. It's a basic format. Okay, you have got all your months at top. Okay, there is taxable value, IGST, CGST, and SGST. This is purely data entry kind of work. A first year intern can do this. You just plot 3B का data, जैसा वैसा 3B का data डाल दो. Okay, ITC का data डाल दो. Set off का entries डाल दो. Set off you need to do the way in which the set off has been done in 3B. Okay, so as you are putting 3B का data, आप जैसा 3B में हुआ वैसा set off का entries एक बार के लिए डाल दो. Details as per tally और accounting software. यहाँ पे आपने पूरा books का data डाल दिया. Once again, same line items: taxable supply, zero rated supply, RCM, exempted, nil rated. Okay, opening balance, set of entries, and then you put data as per GSTR1. Details as per GSTR1. Now, struggle over here. When we download GSTR1 in PDF, you will realize that the credit note, debit note line item which comes in GSTR1, it has the same effect irrespective of whether particular item is a debit note or credit note. So it will just aggregate. So ideally, if it's debit note and a credit note, then there should be a set off. So there should be a reduction, but it will aggregate and add everything. So at that place, you actually have to go to that return and see, okay, how much are credit notes and how much are debit notes, and then accordingly put data over here. Okay, but so once you put data for all the months, your basic structure, whatever has been filed, is there with you on one screen, right? So you have downloaded all the returns, and now the idea is to bring everything on one screen. Now once everything is on one screen, this becomes very helpful, because okay, this is the place where you need to navigate and where you need to find where are discrepancies, etc. So if you see now, this all is formula driven completely. This all is formula driven, as you can see. So there is one reconciliation which tries to tally 3B and books of accounts. So if there is any discrepancy that I find, I at this sheet level, I know that कौन से महीने में mistake हुआ है, और फिर वो महीने में जाके then I have to investigate further in my books कि okay, what is the actual error. But what will happen is that I have a discrepancy. There are overall reconciliation issues. This sheet helps me to narrow down those discrepancy कि भाई कौन से महीने में exactly mistake हुआ है, and then I can investigate further, right? So this is 3B and tally. This is tally and GSTR1, and then 3B and GSTR1 and tally and GSTR1, right? So the idea of this sheet is to plot all data at one slide and then try to figure out okay, where the discrepancy is. So over here in Jan month, there is some discrepancy that I am able to find. Okay. In March month, there is some discrepancy. Now, whatever the discrepancy is, I will have to go to my books of accounts and then find out okay, exactly क्या discrepancy हुआ है, क्या mistake हुआ है. So this has really helped us a lot. Okay. And yeah. So once you have filled up the data over here, then we move to output related records. Okay. Now this sheet is actually a summary of RICO 1 sheet. This sheet is divided into output related and input related. As of now, we'll just discuss output related. So over here, the detail is coming from RICO 1. This is an aggregation of details as per GSTR 3B. In order to reconcile whether this is correct or not, I just have a look at a report which is downloaded from the software, and I just check the total figures whether they are correct or not. This helps me in ensuring that the data plotted in RICO 1 is correct, right? So the aggregation of the data in RICO 1 comes over here, and this is data is as per books. So once again, the item, the details in column number in row number 13 comes from RICO 1. Okay, and this is sum of the above. So basically this is a simple RICO item, bank RICO kind of a thing. Now if you see, there was a difference in 3B, and then there was a difference in details which are in books. So the 3B is lesser than what is the details, what is the sale in books. So what we have done is, then we have identified, okay, why this difference is, and we have identified that this is a credit note of 1718, which we have shown in 3B in the month of October. So 3B में मेरा कम हो गया because वो 1718 का था और books में मेरा 1819 में ज़्यादा हो गया, right? So this is where RICO 1 helps me. If I go to RICO 1, yeah, see, if you see January, so January mein there is a similar difference. So, you know, when I plot this data, this really narrows down कि भाई अच्छा overall difference कहाँ पे है. So this was about books, and then fortunately in this client, the example that we have created, so your 3B is in alignment with books now, and then you see whether your GSTR1 is in alignment with your books or not. At the end of the day, your books are audited. Okay, so the books figure is the final figure. Your GSTR9 should go as per books, right? So everything has to reconcile as per your books figure, because books has been audited by the statutory auditor. So you cannot go beyond that, right? Everything else, if it is not matching, then it's a RICO item and you need to deal with it accordingly. So I'll just give few examples over here. Is that when the details as per books, or when one does not match, is when invoices are skipped and we are shown in GSTR1 of next year. That is one scenario कि भाई GSTR1 में कम है और books में ज़्यादा है, because कोई invoice मैंने GSTR1 में डाला नहीं. So what we do is, we just enter the details of those invoice over here, and we say कि अच्छा इसका इफेक्ट कहाँ पर देना है हम लोग को. इसका इफेक्ट मेरे को GSTR1 में देना है, और अगर 1 में देना है तो मैंने कौन से महीने में दिया है, rectified in the month of. So if I find that there is a particular invoice which was not filed in GSTR1, it becomes part of my RICO item, and over here I mention that, okay, where is this rectification required to be done. I say that this rectification is required to be done in GSTR1, and in GSTR9 I might have to amend some figures. So that is mentioned over here. And if I have rectified in GSTR1, then I will have to mention that कौन से महीने के GSTR1 में मैंने उस इनवॉइस को रेक्टिफाई किया है. So 18-19 का कोई इनवॉइस अगर छूट गया रहेगा तो 19-20 के कोई तो GSTR1 में मैंने रेक्टिफाई किया रहेगा. That I need to put over here, because next year when I create GSTR9, this will be crucial information, because this once again will form part of a reverse RICO item, right? So this becomes very critical. And for me as an as a principal, I know that okay, यहाँ पे अगर लिखा हुआ है कि भाई this is rectified in this one, that means वो हुआ है. Otherwise we just हम लोग ने error निकाल के रख दिया, and GST return is being filed by someone else. Let us say if it is filed by your client at his place, then you really don't have a control कि भाई वो actually हमने उसको बोला तो किया कि नहीं किया, right? उसने फाइल किया कि नहीं किया, उसने amend किया है कि नहीं किया है. So you need to ensure that you just are not taking out the errors, but you are ensuring that the rectification items are actually being done at your client's place, or if you are filing the return, you are taking care of that aspect. Invoices to be, then there might be some invoices which are to be amended in GSTR1. Invoice का कोई value change हो गया, कोई rate में mistake हो गई, that you need to do. Incorrect books, काफी टाइम बुक्स में करेक्शन हो जाता है. हम GSTR1 फाइल कर देते हैं, फिर बुक्स में कुछ चेंज हो जाता है, which is very normal in a small business. Then you need to ensure that okay, books are in align. तो GST रिटर्न में कोई चेंज नहीं होगा, लेकिन बुक्स में आपको ठीक करना पड़ेगा. If your books are not finalized yet, once your books are finalized, you cannot do much about it. But if you are doing this process before the stat audit is completed, then yes, you can do this. So what we do in our firm is we do this process, ये जो output related, input related है, as part of our stat audit itself, so that later on we don't have an issue. So it is highly recommended that at least this RICO one, output related and input related thing, you do as part of your stat audit itself, so that if there is anything which is required to be rectified in books, you still have a scope of doing it. Financial credit note can also be one of the items. Okay, so basically this is a summary of the details you have inserted in RICO 1. In this one screen, you will see, in this one screen, your task is simply to reconcile everything with details as per books. And in that process, you will identify the transactions where you have gone wrong or where your client has gone wrong. And then you need to come out with an appropriate solution for it. If you have missed something in 3B, if you have not paid tax in 3B, you need to ask them to pay tax through DRC 03, etc. So the scenarios, the reconciliation, the reason for reconciliation might be different, right? And that will completely be on case-to-case basis. But the core idea is that everything has to be reconciled as per books. Thereafter, once these details are there, we have an output reconciliation. This reconciliation is broadly, this is a figure that we pick up from the audited balance sheet which is signed. Okay, so that is a turnover as per PNL. In this case, there is just a branch transfer ka entry, and then we reconcile it with the GSTR1 figure. So GSTR1 figure is basically your GST turnover figure and all the reconciliation items. So this basically helps you when you are filling up 9C. So when you will have a 9C session tomorrow, you will see that in the first table itself, there are various reconciliation items. So over here, the reconciliation item which has impacted your RICO will come. So your data for 9C also gets, it also gets prepared over here to a large extent. So this was about output related over here. One more thing that I want to show to you guys is how a dump of GSTR1 looks. So if you see, as we are using this tool, we get all the invoices at one place. These are the invoices that you have filed. So this is coming from the system itself. There might be issues in the data that you have kept at your place, and God knows what has happened to that data after you have filed your return. But this is the data which is coming from the system itself. Okay, ये final गया है. So now where this helps is whenever you find there is a discrepancy in GSTR1 and let us say in GSTR3B or books, and if you want to see a invoice wise detail कि भाई मेरा 1 में actually कौन से क्या data गया और कौन से invoice में mistake हुआ है, so this is the data which really helps you. Now I'll just share what are the common discrepancies that we have found so far, and I guess if you have done 17-18 का return, you might be aware कि ये सब होता है books में. So when we prepare that statement of RICO 1 or 3B versus 1 versus books, first of all we find that lot of places set of entries are not passed in the books, right? तो चले ही जा रहा है, आउटपुट का आउटपुट में जा रहा है, इनपुट का इनपुट में जा रहा है, और इंटर सेट ऑफ का बुक्स में कुछ एंट्री किया नहीं है. 3B में किया है लेकिन इंटर सेट ऑफ का बुक्स में कुछ नहीं किया है. So over here, you need to be clear with your role. Okay, your role is just as an auditor or just you are someone who is checking. If that is the case, then you just have to tell them, boss, set of entry mark do. But if your role is as a consultant, which is there in most of the cases, and अगर हम वहाँ के accountant को बोलेंगे set of entry मारना है, तो there are high chances that he will give you a long stare and he will say he will be baffled कि भाई उसको exactly करना क्या है. Because जो सेट ऑफ का जो रूल्स है वो भी काफी बार चेंज हुए हैं. सो दे आर एट अ लॉस कि अच्छा क्या एंट्री कभी मारना है हमको. सो दिस इज अ बेसिक थिंग दैट यू नीड टू एंश्योर दैट बुक्स में सेट ऑफ का एंट्रीज मारी है, जीएसटी सेट ऑफ की एंट्रीज मारी है. वो नहीं मारी है तो आपको करवानी है या करनी है. And a lot of time, there are few places where we found that accounting करने के time पे mistake ये कर दिया कि भाई SGST और SGST का ledger select कर दिया या CGST और CGST का ledger select कर दिया. So that is why their books are not in place. So this is a very common error that we have found. It's a manual error which happens. And effect of 1718 transactions, as I said, is given in 1819's 3B, right? So you need to take care of this, I would say, exceptional items. Same 1718 के invoices का details GSTR 1 of 1819 में दे दिया है. So once again, you need to be, you need to take those things out. So over here, so if I see over here in GSTR 1, it gives me return period and the invoice date. So once it gives me return period and invoice date, over here I can identify कि अच्छा मेरा रिटर्न पीरियड तो सारे 18-19 के हैं, तो इसमें 17 और 18 का कोई इनवॉइस है क्या? तो सिंपली फिल्टर करके समझ जाता है कि अच्छा GSTR 1 में ऐसे गया है, राइट? सो दिस इज रियली हेल्पफुल इन दैट वे. I don't know why. Okay. Effect of RCM transactions are not given properly in books. या तो फिर RCM का liability सही से create नहीं किया है, सिर्फ पेमेंट का एंट्री कर दिया, और इफेक्ट ITC का क्रेडिट डिटेल्स बराबर से नहीं दी है. So there are a lot of things which can go wrong and which you find that things are not as per books. The checkpoint over here is closing balance of your credit ledger or last month's liability, मार्च महीने का जो liability है, that as per books and as per the GST portal should reconcile. If it is not reconciling, the closing balance as per the closing balance as per your credit ledger, if there is a credit, and as per books, if it is not reconciling, then there is a challenge. Then you really need to dive and see कि भाई कहाँ पे issue है. Once again, the RICO one that I showed you will help you in identifying कि कौन से महीने में error हुआ है. What we have learned and what we have learned in the last year when we have done this exercises is that books में आप जो set of entry मारो ना, you do it as per GSTR 3B. Now there might be cases where हम चाहते हैं कि भाई books में मेरा जितना भी set off है, let us say IGST का कोई balance है, वो पूरे का पूरा बैलेंस जैसा बुक्स में है मैं CGST लायबिलिटी अगेंस्ट सेट ऑफ कर दूं, राइट? जैसा बुक्स में दिख रहा है. लेकिन ऐसा हो सकता है कि 3B में आपने कोई और फिगर सेट ऑफ किया है, रिड्यूस फिगर सेट ऑफ किया है. तो माय रिकमेंडेशन इज कि बुक्स के अंदर जैसा 3B में सेट ऑफ हुआ है ना, वैसा का वैसा सेट ऑफ आप बुक्स में कर दो. द रीजन इज दैट एज सून एज यू डू दिस, वंस बुक्स में ही आपको पता चल जाएगा कि कौन से महीने में इशू हुआ है, बिकॉज वो महीने में वो जो एंट्री है वो ओपन दिखेगी आपको. जो सेट ऑफ लेजर में है उतना जो बैलेंस है वो ओपन दिखेगा, बिकॉज वो कंप्लीटली सेट ऑफ नहीं हुआ रहेगा, राइट?
Jigar, 1 minute, sorry, a small interruption. A few participants do not understand Hindi, so I would request you to stick to English.
Got it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so what I was saying is that where was I? So I was talking about passing set of entry in books. So you need to ensure that the set of entries that you pass in books is as per the set of which has been done in 3B. When you will see the books, you will be tempted to pass entries as per what is there in the books. But if you do it as per 3B, every month you will be able to see wherever there is a RICO difference or discrepancy, right? So this will really help you out over there. And invoices skipped while filing GSTR 1 or 3B is once again a very common error that we find. So these are the list of top common errors which we find when we do this audits. Once again, there can be a huge variety of it. I mean, last year we have done few clients wherein the list was huge, but we have compiled the top errors which we generally find when we do RICO 1. So any questions so far? I guess there are few questions. Maybe Raj or Charmi, if you guys can help me out in filtering those questions.
Yeah, Jigar. So we have one question. While filing the GSTR 1 return of December 18, we have received an advance of 5 lakhs, and in March we have raised the tax invoice. But while filing, I have shown advance in December 18, but in March we have not shown the full invoice in B2B. Now the counterparty does not receive the full credit. How do you rectify that? Because you cannot amend the 18-19 data now.
Yeah, so you have missed a bus. So what I'm understanding is that you have received advance in March, and we have raised a
No,
tax invoice.
so no. You have received the advance in December 2018, and you have raised the invoice in March 2019.
Okay, so you skipped the invoice in while filing the return, GSTR 1 return.
Yeah.
So as you said, you cannot amend 18-19 data. The best that you can do is see, as far as your records are concerned, there is an advance which is unutilized. Okay, so
Correct.
as far as your data is concerned, when you are filing GSTR 9, you should take this figure to the total turnover figure and not the advance figure. I'll come to that. But as far as your client is concerned, he will not be able to see this data in his 2A. That is correct. You have missed the bus. This should be rectified at a right point of time. Only thing that you can do is, because I know your client will be very upset, you can just give him in written for his records that, okay, this is the error that we have done. In GSTR 9, we are going to disclose this as a sale figure, although that will be of no consequence to him. But yes, but that is the only thing that you can do, is you can give him written in writing that you have done a mistake, so that he can show to his GST officer when his GST officer will question him on credit. But yes, there is no way that this can come in your 2A.
Okay. Jigar, we have another question. Any clause or place where balance ITC carried forward an annual return so that balance in books and annual return gets matched?
No, so there is no place as such. I will come to ITC related details ahead.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no such things.
So I think these were the questions that we can take up right now. Later we can take up the rest.
Got it. Okay, so this whatever we discussed so far was just the background. You're still working on your Excel sheet. Okay, we are not entered GSTR 9 yet. So now let's enter GSTR 9. So these are the tables in GSTR 9 which are related to output. These are the tables wherein you need to enter output related information. So table 4 is your basic output details, taxable details. Table 5 is where you put in the GST details, but where the transactions where there is no GST. Table 9 is it's a summary kind of a table wherein you have total tax payable figure over there, which can be edited. Table 10 and table 11 are for the amendments done in the next financial year. So what I'll do is, now I'll move to actual GSTR 9. So at this point of time, you have got all your details ready. Your Excel sheet में पूरा data ready है. अभी आपको सिर्फ data enter करना है. In real world, you can do this directly on the GST portal, or you can just, for your comfort, you can have use this kind of an Excel sheet जहाँ पे पूरा GSTR 9 का format है, that you can use, right? And just for your background working. But in the real world, you can, मतलब जो हमने 3B versus 1, the details that we have discussed in 3B versus 1 versus books, that Excel sheet is good enough for you to enter details directly on the GST portal. Yeah, so I'll just quickly run you through what are these transactions. Okay, first you have your basic details, financial year, GSTI, and etc., which is auto-populated to a large extent. And over here, you are supposed to give details of what are the what are the figures that you have disclosed in your GST returns. Now this is a auto-populated field. This gets auto-populated from your GSTR1. Okay, so in B2C, you have your GSTR1 details. This is net of credit notes, debit notes, right? In B2B, these are B2B invoices. Once again, this all is auto-populated. Although this is auto-populated, you can amend it. Okay. Over here, at table 4B, you are supposed to give details at gross level, as the details of credit note and debit notes will come over here in I and J. So the sales that you are giving for B2B has to be at gross level. You'll give zero rated supplies on which you have made payment of tax. The details on which tax has not been paid will come in table 5. Supplies to SEZs on which tax has been paid, deemed exports, advance on which tax has been paid but invoice has not been issued. So coming to your question, so ideally in your so the question which was asked, ideally that transaction will come over here, but you have so in the auto populated detail your transaction will come over here, but as you have raised the invoice, in reality you have raised the invoice, it is just that you have skipped while filing GSTR1. You should remove that advanced details from here and add the details of the invoices over here in B2B, so that your GSTR 9 figures are in alignment with your books. Our intention, the whole purpose of this exercise is that your GSTR 9 figures should be as per books. Okay, your overall GSTR 9 figures are supposed to be as per books. So we should try to do that as much as possible. It might require you to edit some fields here and there, but see, whenever an assessment comes or whenever the officer comes after filing annual returns, there are high chances, we still don't know how will they approach this, but there are high chances that they will just take out your GSTR 9 and ask you, Kya, now show us where are these figures in my books of accounts or in your books of accounts, right? So you need to ensure that your GSTR 9 figures are in alignment with your books as far as possible. So if in your books the invoice is raised and advance is knocked off, the advance will get knocked off from here. You will amend it manually and add the invoice over here in B. Inward supplies on which tax is paid under RCM. Credit note, debit note, set off. Supplies tax declared through amendment. So if in the same period there has been an amendment and there is some addition and deletion, then those details will come over here. This was your table 4. Okay, I know I might be going quick, but to be very frank, I don't want to spend too much time on discussing this fields, what are over here. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Once again, at this level, we have already done your groundwork. You have already identified the transactions where there are issues, and over here we just have to give an effect of it, right? So once again, zero rated supplies on which tax is not paid. So all those transactions in which no kind of tax is paid comes over here. Supplies on which tax is to be paid by the recipient on reverse charge basis. So you are not paying the tax, your recipient is paying the tax, that comes over here. Exempted supply, nil supply, and non-GST supply. Now I had received one question that what if we have not given details of non-GST supply or exempt supply, nil rated supply while filing GSTR1? Can we give the details over here? Yes, you should give your details over here. Once again, as I said, your details which are going in GSTR 9, irrespective of what you have filed in GSTR 1, should be in alignment with your books. Because if you don't give those details over here, you will not be able to reconcile the total sales figure in GSTR 9C. So it's better that you disclose those figures over here so that it helps you in reconciling with GSTR 9C. So yes, even if you have not given any exempt supply details or non-GST supply details in GSTR 1 or 3B, you can always disclose it over here in GSTR 9. Credit note, debit note in respect of nil transactions and supplies through amendment. So this was your table 4. and table 5. Okay. Now we will directly move to table 10 and 11. Okay, so we are once again we are focusing as of now on output related information. So whatever you have filed so far has been captured in table 4 and table 5. Now, if there are any transactions which are of financial year 18-19 but disclosed in financial year 19-20, the details will come in table 10 and 11. Okay. Once again, I'm repeating, any transactions which are of 18-19 but you have already disclosed in 19-20, then the details will come in table 10 and 11. Now, when I say already disclosed, I mean already disclosed in 3B or GSTR 1. That is a question, whether disclosed in 3B or GSTR 1. So over here, there is a golden rule that you need to take care of. The golden rule is as such: if you have paid tax, if you have paid tax of 18-19 in 18-19, it will go in table 4. If you have paid tax of 18-19 in 18-19, it will go in table 4. If you have paid tax of 18-19 in 19-20, it will go in table 10. It will go in table 10, or let us say part 5. So if you have paid tax of 18-19 in 19-20, it will go in table 10. Okay. Now, if you have not paid tax of 18-19, either in 18-19 or 19-20, you have not paid tax so far. You are filing your annual return, but you have not disclosed your liability in GSTR 3B so far of the next financial year. That detail will once again remain in table 4. Okay, now then once again, there can be 3 types of scenarios. If you have paid tax of 18-19 in 18-19, it will go in table 4. If you have paid tax of 18-19 in 19-20, it will go in table 10. And if you have not paid tax yet and you are filing your annual return, the details will once again go in table 4. Okay, I hope I am clear over here. So what will happen? Let us take a hypothetical example. It is very clear if you have paid 18-19 tax in 18-19, so it goes in table 4. But let us say you have not paid. If you have not paid tax so far, and I'm saying that you add it in table 4, so your tax payable in table 4 will be higher than what tax payable is over there in table 9. Once again, table 9, these figures are auto-populated from your 3B. So by default, your table 4 figure will be higher as you have not paid the tax yet, right? And your table 9 figure will be lower. So this will show a discrepancy over here. Now what you need to do is, in table 9, you can manually edit. The tax payable figure is something that you can manually edit, and you will take it to the level of table 4. So your table 4 and table 9 are now tallied. Okay. But once you increase the figures in table 9 in column number 2, which is highlighted as of now, it will not reconcile with the details which are there in 3, 4, 5 and 6. And you cannot amend these details. So there will be a difference. The amount in table 2 will be higher of the sum total of the details which are there in 3, 4, 5 and 6. 3, 4, 5 and 6 is the total of the tax that you have paid through your 3B, be it through cash or through ITC, right? So what it shows over here is that tax payable is more, but you have still not paid that tax. Now this differential tax is something which you are required to pay through DRC 03. Now there is no way, there is no column to disclose where you have paid this DRC 03 tax, right? So there will be an reconciliation or difference which will go as is in 9 and 9C, and there will be the differential figure, the differential amount will be there in your DRC 03, correct? So this becomes your record. Now this record is something that you need to disclose when you are filing GSTR 9C. So in GSTR 9C, you can mention that, okay, there was a difference in tax payable and tax paid, but it is now paid through DRC 03, reference number this. The idea of, just elevating figures in GSTR 9 is that your audit report gets tallied as is with GSTR 9. The total figures that goes in audit report is as per GSTR 9, right? So what in theory what we are saying is that taxpayer himself has disclosed that, okay, this was payable to him, but he has not paid it. He has disclosed this. So auditor, there is nothing left for the auditor to reconcile over there, because when he is filing 9C and when he is reconciling figures with 9, there will be no reconciliation item, as the figures are being fetched from GSTR 9, right? And the auditor can simply say, okay, there was a differential that we saw in table number 9 and it has been paid through DRC 03 over here. I'm clear. Any questions over here?
Jigar, we have a few questions. You would like to take them right
Yes.
now?
Yeah, so I like to take questions. Yeah. I understand that there are a lot of questions in what to do when there is a goof up while filing GSTR 1. Those questions we can take in the end. If there are any questions regarding to this particular part of 990, we can take it up right now.
Yeah. So 1 minute. So one of the major questions, multiple questions that I've seen is, so what details should be considered while starting the annual return working, GSTR 1, 3B or the books? That is in the table 4.
Got it. So as I said, your table 4 will be auto-populated as per GSTR 1. Okay. Now, there is no thumb rule. There is no thumb rule which says that the details in table 4 should go as per GSTR 1, nor it says that it should go as per 3B. As I said, when you prepare table 4, there will be two types of transactions. One, if you have paid the tax, by that I mean the details as per 3B, because you are paying tax through 3B. So all your details as per 3B should go over here. So the total tax payable as per 3B, if there is no discrepancy, will match over here. Okay. However, if there are any transactions which are still left and you have not paid the tax yet, then it will go once again in table 4. So you cannot simply say that it should be as per 3B or 1 or books, because in all those scenarios there can be a situation wherein some details might go in table 10. Let us say if we say ki, okay, we'll be finding details as per books. So in your books there will be total turnover, but there might be a situation wherein you have missed paying tax in 1819, but you realized it in time and you paid tax in 1920. So that part of the tax that you have paid in 1920 will go in table 10. So the conclusion is that we cannot say that, okay, it has to be as per books, because a part of it, if you have not paid the tax, will go in table 10, right? Same, I cannot say that it should be as per 3B, because if it is as per 3B, then only those transactions on which I have paid tax in 1819 will fall in table 4. If there are any transactions that I find at the time of GSTR 9 and I have not paid tax so far, that I will not be able to fill it up over here, correct? So once again, I cannot say that, okay, it has to be as per 3B. Now I cannot say that it can be as per GSTR 1, because there might be a situation that you have filed in GSTR 1 in 1819, but tax you have paid either later in 1920, in which case it should go in table number 10, or you have not paid tax so far. There was some transaction which got left out in 3B, but it went in 1, right? So I cannot even conclude that it has to be as per GSTR 1. So categorically stating, we cannot keep it in a boundary wherein we can say that, okay, this will be as per 1, 3B or books. Once again, the golden rule is if the tax is paid in the same year. So if 1819's tax is paid in 1819, it will go in table 4. If 1819 tax is not paid so far, and you are going to pay after filing GSTR 9 through DRC 03, it will go in table 4. Okay. And if there is a tax of 1819 which is paid in 1920, it will go in table number 4. So
Okay.
I know this is quite complex, but I've tried my best to simplify it.
Jigar, there's another question.
Yeah.
Turnover of 1718 that has been declared in 3B, that is the tax has been paid in 3B of 1819. So where do you disclose that then?
Yeah, so this is an issue. This is an issue in the form because the form has not adopted to 1718's figure, which are disclosed in 1819. So what I would suggest is, let us say, see the form is auto-populated, right? So if there is any figure, let us say 1718's any invoice is you have disclosed in 1819 in GSTR 1, then you will have to just manually edit that figure in B2B, right? And then you will have to bring it up to the 1819 figure.
Okay, Jigar, I think we can proceed with the
Yeah.
presentation.
So now there are some key thumb rules that we follow at our firm is that tax payable in table 9 should reconcile with tax payable in table 4. As I've explained, that tax payable in table 9 and tax payable in table 4 should be reconciled always. If there is a difference over there, it indicates that some tax is to be paid, which we need to pay through GSTR 03. Total GST RICO except total GST turnover except RICO items of 9C as per books should reconcile with total turnover as per part 5. I'll just show that. So in part 5, your this turnover, okay, in part 5N, this should reconcile. Basically what we do in our firm is we ensure that it reconciles from our output related sheet, which is which has GST related turnover. Now by GST related turnover, I don't say that taxable turnover. It can be zero rated supplies as well, except the RICO items. Now what are the RICO items in 9C? You will find it out in detail, but just to give you an example is that if there is some accrued income but invoice is not raised, it will not come anywhere in your GST turnover, right? And it will also not form part of your GSTR 9 in any tables of GSTR 9. It will directly come in 9C. So yeah, as I said, yeah, that figure over here, this is like 1546,64757. This should reconcile with this figure. There is 17 rupees difference. That is a round off difference which can be there. But your this figure should reconcile with the figure that we have arrived over here. If this is correct, then what you are doing is you are going at a right in the right direction. Because if you see, this figure is also there over here. The same figure is also there over here. Now and you will be having your RICO items over here, and you will arrive at the figure which will be there in 9C. So if this element is in control, you are filing the correct return. So this is the thumb rule. This is the key thumb rule. Okay, so this was about it as far as output related items were concerned. Now let us move to input related items. the first thing, the foremost thing that what you are required to do is a GSTR 2A RICO. Now, once again, there are various tools available, but so in my firm, although there are various tools available, my team is now very comfortable with the internal Excel tool that we had created for the firm at a very initial stage. So we are still working on that sheet itself. So I'll just show you a glimpse of it. So first of all, I'll just show you a GSTR 2A. And I'll also show you the master RICO file of GSTR 2A. Once again, GSTR 2A is something that should form part of your stat audit itself, so that if there are any issues which are required to be rectified in books of accounts, we can address them at that level, at that stage itself, right? So yeah, so this is GSTR 2A. Okay. Once again, don't forget to download credit note, debit notes of the GSTR 2A and knock it off with your invoice figures while you are arriving at a reconciliation. Because then once again, there is a common mistake that people do is that they don't knock off annual return figures. Sorry, credit note, debit note figures. Yeah, so this is what a dump of GSTR 2A looks like. Okay, what we do is we simply use this. First of all, we knock it off with the credit notes, debit notes, and we simply take a pivot, GSTN number wise pivot, and we put it in the internal tool that we have created. So yeah, so this will have the pivot of uh, 2A related items, GSTN wise, the GSTN number, IGST, CGST, and SGST. Similarly, we will have details as per books, okay, which will be dumped over here. And this is a tool that we have created in the firm. So as soon as we just enter details over here, we just need to do a pivot from to a table and a pivot from your purchase register or the GST related ledgers. And we just have to dump data over here, and balance things happens automatically in our tool. Okay, so I get this, these are filtered for major transactions. So I get, okay, this is as per my ledger, this is as per 2A, and this is a value mismatch. Over here also I can see a value mismatch. There's hardly anything missing in 2A. Hardly anything in additional in 2A. Okay, so basically this tool has really helped us. We get value mismatches, we get items which are missing in 2A, and then we get items which are additional in 2A. Once you get these items, then once again you need to do your background work. If there is a value mismatch, first of all you will check your books of accounts. If there is any error in your books, you need to rectify. Once again, this is possible if your audit is not concluded. So this is something which should form part of your stat audit itself, right? Missing in 2A, you need to reach out to your vendor that please upload this in your 2A, otherwise I will not be able to take the credit, or I might face some challenges in future. And additionally in 2A, you need to check your books of accounts whether you have missed out taking something or it was really ineligible. If it is an ineligible, you make a note of it, as we need to disclose it while we are filing GSTR 9 and 9C. So GSTR 2A RICO is the first thing that we do. In 3B versus 1 versus books, the data that we have prepared earlier, we had already entered in RICO 1. Over here, we have already entered input related items as well. So input related items, your 3B and your 3B, and your books. We have already done the exercise of reconciling the same. So I'll just show you this. So if I see, once again, the first step is ITC as per books. This is the ITC as per books that we have taken. Okay. And yeah, first of all, we need to arrive at the correct ITC as per books for that year. So a lot of time we found that, okay, there was a mistake in the books itself, but the audit was done, right? So there were errors in books which were required to be rectified in the next financial year. So if there are any such transactions, then you need to first, give adjustment of those transactions in the books figure over here itself. So let us say ITC reversed in financial 1920. So we realized that, okay, there was some ITC which was in books also. It was there in 1819, but in books it was wrong. In this particular case, we found that, okay, some wrong branch, the ITC was related to some another branch, but it was erroneously booked by the accounts team in this current branch, right? So we found out that, okay, the books itself are incorrect. Then so we have reversed it in our working. We cannot do anything in the books of accounts which are audited. So the effect of it in books of accounts is being given in next financial year. But for our RICO item, we have to give over here, and we need to arrive at correct ITC as per books. Now, correct ITC as per books is also the figure of the correct ITC that you are eligible to take credit. Okay. So ideally your 3B should match with correct ITC as per books. Once you have arrived at that figure, then you compare it with GSTR 2A. So your GSTR 2A has this figures, okay, but you see that your the books has a much larger figure. Then you need to see that, okay, what are the RICO items. So over here, the biggest RICO item can be that invoices are not uploaded by some party. So that is one of the RICO items. Then there is some reversal that I had done, okay, in books, and then reversal which is done in next financial year. Now ITC as per 3B. Now over here we arrive at ITC as per 3B. This is the actual credit that I have taken, okay, and this is the actual credit that I am supposed to take. So over here what I'm finding is, okay, this was the additional credit that I took in 3B, and this is the action that I need to take in next year's 3B. So if I have already taken the action in next year's 3B, then the effect will come over here, and I will mention that, okay, this was reversed in August 2019 itself. But if I have not taken the action yet, then I might have to disclose it in DRC 03 and reverse it while I'm filing my GSTR 9. And if there is an ITC which is of earlier year, so let us say the ITC in 3B was of 1718, then that figure is disclosed over here, and ultimately I will reconcile it with as per books. So once again, three facets. Once again, everything should come as per books. Your books figure should be correct, and you need to align your 3B figures and accordingly disclose them in your GSTR 9 and 9C. Now let us come to GSTR 9 and 9C, input related files. So yeah, common discrepancies. Common discrepancies found is supplier has not uploaded the invoice of other party uploaded on our GST, and there will be additional invoices. Wrong text type claim uploaded by supplier. In our books, we have booked C and S, but supplier has uploaded I or vice versa. So mistake can be at our end or the supplier's end. Supplier with multiple GSTIN, but in books recorded as one entity only. Okay, so this becomes a challenge while reconciling. So your supplier might be in different states, so he will be having different GSTR number. but there are high chances that in your books of accounts, you just maintain one ledger as a creditor. So this becomes a huge challenge when you are doing a two-way repo. Credit not taken by taxpayer, you're not taken credit notes into account. We have taken additional credit, okay, and credit taken in wrong branch or under wrong GSTI. So these are the common discrepancies that we have found, because of which there are RICO transactions. Now let us come to ITC related tables. So there is table 6, table 7, table 8, table 12 and table 13. So yeah. Now we'll come to table 6. Now table 6 is, now we are completely into input related items and input related figures. Okay. So table 6, the starting point is ITC as per 3B. So whatever you have filed in 3B, you need to give a bifurcation. Now there is a relaxation over here. You don't have to actually go into what is capital goods, what is input service and what is inputs. So simply the relaxation is that you put everything in inputs. So a lot of your effort is saved over here. Okay. So this is my total ITC taken. Now out of this, what is the ITC? What is a normal ITC that a supplier gives me? What is RCM ITC? So this is a normal inward supply ITC. This is inward supply is received from URD but tax paid under RCM. In 1819, this will not be there because this provision is not applicable. This provision was not applicable in 1819. Inward supply is received from registered person liable to reverse charge. So all your GTA, advocate, lawyers, etc. will come over here. Import of goods, import of services, ITC through ISD. So your over here you need to ensure that this figure matches with your 3B figure. Over here you cannot deviate. The simple requirement over here is whatever you have filed in 3B, you just give us an update of it, right? Just give us a breakup. So this has to be mandatorily nil. Okay, you need to ensure that this is nil over here. So in my case, I have taken in 1819 GSTR 3B, I have taken credit of 16,70,000. Okay. Now at the same point of time, I had reversed in the same financial year. I have reversed 593,996. Okay. So my net credit was less, but if you see in the 6B figure goes at gross, and this is 593,996 is something that I have reversed in the same financial year. So that figure I need to disclose over here. So in table 7, all your reversal figures. So 7A is rule 37, reversal of ITC due to non-payment of tax within 180 days of invoice. So that reversal will come over here. Okay. 7B, reversal on account of excess distribution of ITC by ISD. 42, rule 42 is reversal of common ITC in case of exempt supplies or partly taxable supplies, and reversal of common ITC in respect of capital goods whenever the capital goods are taken and it is being used for exempt supplies or partly taxable supplies. Okay. So other reversals, all other kind of reversals. So this was the reversal this was a credit which we had taken erroneously. Okay, this was a double credit which the party had claimed. So that we have reversed over here. This was simply a manual error, so that we have reversed in the same financial over here. Okay, and there are also Tran 1 and Tran 2 figures. So Tran 1 and Tran 2 figures are redundant for 1819. We don't have to give details of Tran 1 and Tran 2. in 1819 GSTR 9, until and unless you are a part of exception which had been given an opportunity to claim credit through GSTR 9. But there are few very rare cases where exceptionally high courts have given, and also government had come out for all those who had were not able to file GSTR Tran 1 because of technical issues. And if you are that selected case, then the figure will go over there. Otherwise, the figure will not go over there. Yeah. Then you have other ITC related information. So this was table 6 is simple bifurcation of what you have filed in 3B. You are just bifurcating. Over there. You are not doing much. Table 7 is details of the reversal. Now table 8 is something where you are giving your GSTR. You are reconciling with GSTR 2A related figures. Now if you see over here, I've got 2A related figures. I have given total of 6B and 6H. Now although I have reversed 5,93,996 in the same financial year, the system auto-populates this figure from 6B. And this is fair enough because the idea over here is to reconcile with 2A. So in a normal circumstance, the detail will be there in 2A. Although I have reversed in, let us say, because of rule 42 or 43. So that will be part of 2A. So that is how that figure should come in. So 6B is correct. But so this is where we need to manage. There is no issue in the form according to me over here. It is correct if for reconciling with 2A figure, if it is taking the total from table 6B. So the 6B is basically all the ITC of other category which ideally should have been in 2A, right? So it is just comparing that figure. Now ITC on inward supplies received during 1819, we should read 1718 as 1819, but availed in financial year, next financial year, 1920 by September. So if there is any ITC that I have taken in next financial year, so it will be there in my 2A, but let us say I forgot something and I took it in 3B of next financial year. So that figure I will add over here. So it comes in alignment and it gets reconciled. Now the issue over here is they have not given me a facility of, there will be some figure in 3B which will be of 1718, right? Which will be of 1718 because I might have made those changes. So there should be a facility to reduce this figure so that once again I can reconcile it with 2A, because in my 1819 2A there will not be figure of the invoice of 1718, but my 3B will have it, right? So to that extent my 3B will be higher. So I should have that facility to, I should have that field to reduce my 3B figure to that extent. But that figure is that is not there, right? So that facility is something that I should have, but I guess the form should get updated. We don't know if it will get updated or not, but yeah, there will be an issue over here to that extent. So over here, if you see, I'm having a difference of, let us say 8,49,000, almost 8,50,000. Now over here, I'm clear that okay, there is 2A is less and 6B is more. So I know that some of my suppliers have not filed their return, right? Some of my suppliers have not filed their return. And so what happens is there are high chances that government will question me on this. So I need to identify those transactions. If there is still a scope for the supplier to amend the return, I should insist on that. And if not, I need to ensure that I have all the other documents. I'm keeping my invoices on the record separately, because sooner or later I will be questioned on this. But over here in IGST, there is a huge difference when something has terribly gone wrong. So one of the difference is of the reconciliation, this figure 593,996, because as I have reversed in the same financial year, but over here it is taking figure from 6B, 6B, that is a reconciliation item which remains, right? That is a reconciliation item which remains. So once again, if I have to explain it, I need to have my explanation ready, but I cannot do anything over here. Okay. Secondly, there was 2,58,000 rupees that I am agreeing that, okay, I've taken a wrong credit in that financial year, but I am disclosing that I have reversed in table 12 in the next financial year, right? So whatever RICO difference is over there, you need to have a proper explanation for it. If your supplier has missed it, you need to have your supporting documents, right? If there is an error from your end, and if you have reversed in next financial year, it will come in table 12. If you have reversed in the same financial year, it will come in table 7. And if you have not reversed so far, that will remain in negative, and you will have to pay tax in DRC 03. So DRC 03 is once again a document that you will have to keep as a record, okay, that you need to keep as a record for show to your GST officer, okay, we agree that, okay, we have paid less tax or we have taken additional credit, but we have reversed it. Once again, this can go in your 9C as a note. This reconciliation can go in your 9C as a note. And yeah, so this is one of the most important elements of reconciling the record over here. So unfortunately, we don't have chat box over here. Otherwise, I would have loved to ask whether you guys are still there or not. I'm really having no idea how much justice I am able to do, or how much I am able to simplify this. I am sounding very complicated to myself, but that is how it is.
Jigar, I'm sure there are many people, because the amount of questions that are pouring in
Yeah.
shows their presence.
Yeah.
Even I agree, Jigar, you are going very good.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Raj. That helps. Okay. So now there are key thumb rules for input related. Table 6J should be negative or should be nil. I know you guys will have to rectify this table numbers. Okay. So I'll just show you table 6J. This should be negative. Okay. So one view, once again, as I said, one view that can be taken over here, as far as this 5,93,000 is concerned. Okay. One view can be taken is I reduce the figure over here itself. If I reduce the figure over here itself, I will get a negative balance in 6J, and then I have something to explain, right? I explain that. But then I will not find the RICO difference when I am reconciling my 2A and 3B. But personally, I have not gone through that way, because when I know that in 3B I have reversed in 1819, and I know that I have 3B to show the reversal figure, and I have a figure to establish this figure which is coming in 7H. So I will like to have that. I see that is a safer option. The thing is that, okay, the client has goofed up. He has taken additional credit. Now we need to show figures in such a way that it is easily explainable to the officer whenever a question arises. So I feel it is much easier to explain to the officer. This figure is much easier to explain to the officer. I can explain to him the way I'm explaining to you guys, is that, okay, sir, we know that there is a difference of 8.5 lakhs, but 593 is we have already reversed in 1819. This is the 3B. This is where we have disclosed in GSTR 9. 2.5 lakhs is already is reversed in the next financial year. This is the 3B of that figure. We have already disclosed in table number 12. So I feel that this is much easier to explain over here. That is why we have decided that, okay, we will be showing 8.5 lakhs figure over here. So according to me, the thumb rule should be that 6J should be nil. If 8D is negative, so if 8D, if this is negative, it indicates either invoice is not uploaded by supplier, so you don't have any facility to really express, okay, yaar, I have taken correct credit, but my supplier has not uploaded the invoice. You don't have a field to express that over here. So once again, you need to have your supporting documents ready whenever someone questions you. Once again, you can really express this thing when you are filing your 9C and have a note over there. Apart from that, additional ITC is taken. Whether you might have taken additional ITC, which in our case was 2.5 lakhs that we have reversed in the next financial year. that is where the difference can be negative. In ideal scenario, this difference should be positive when something is greater in 2A, but it is less in 3B. And this difference is because there was some credit which was eligible, but you have not availed for some reason, or there was some ITC which was completely ineligible. Now this can be like something like an insurance, right? You have taken insurance for your employees and it is not eligible. So you just disclose that figure over here. So irrespective of that, theoretically, we should not do it in a jugaad way. Okay, if my difference is negative, I will not disclose. If I will not disclose ITC available but ineligible, because if I disclose ITC available but ineligible, in effect, that negative figure is much higher, right? So you should not do that. You should disclose your figures the way they are. You need to ensure that you have supporting documents to establish your correct negative figure, right? And you have your explanations ready. And if you have done an error, if there is a genuine additional ITC taken, just tell your client that, okay, just reverse this tax and pay 24% interest through DRC 03 and let's move on with it, right? Yeah, so if 8D is positive, disclose 8E and 8F. This will come, this will show you the figure which you need to lapse, because either the ITC was ineligible or the ITC was ineligible, or it was eligible but you are still not availed. Maybe you missed the date, or it can be like it was not that significant, right? Let us say ITC or bank charges, it is not that significant, so you willingly say that, okay, I don't want to take that ITC. So that is the lapse figure which comes over here. If this is a very large figure, your client will not like this figure. He'll definitely demand an explanation that, okay, why so much of my ITC is getting lapsed. So yeah, that was input related, output related. I think we have covered most of the tables. I will just cover tables which you have not covered so far. So table 14, right? So if there is anything which is there in 10 and 11, which is there in 10, which is payable, right? And you have already paid, it should come over here. You are payable, you need to ensure that payable and paid, you are filling up the details both in payable and paid. Demands and refund, this is completely a disclosure item. What is the total refund that you have claimed, how much is rejected, how much is still pending. So there is nothing arithmetic over here. It is a complete disclosure kind of a field. Supply is received from composition dealer, deemed supply under section 143 and goods sent on approval basis. Luckily 17 and 18 is optional. You have to give HSN wise details for outward supply and inward supplies. Luckily this is optional. Otherwise this is a huge effort. Late fees payable and paid. If there are any late fees which are payable, then we need to pay. And once again, this is also a disclosure requirement. So yeah, broadly, this is it. From my end, I think we should take input related questions first. I know a lot of interns have done a lot of mistakes. So we need to, as far as possible, we need to find a way out of it.
Yeah. So one of the major questions that I'm getting is, so there's a difference between the 2A that we download and the 2A that is seen in 9C. So how do you reconcile the difference?
So yeah, so the 2A figures in GSTR 9, yeah, so there are a lot of chances wherein there is a difference in the auto-populated figure in GSTR 9 and auto-populated figure in 9, what we have downloaded in 9C. But I guess there has been a notification wherein they have given us, an option that, okay, you write it down in a PDF, you can create a record sheet in PDF without CA certificate and do that. I guess we should go with the figures. So there are some typical reasons why this happens. Is that as far as 1718 was concerned, they have stopped updating the 9 figure after a point of time, after a date. But then there are some late filers. Okay, so they are filing returns which are pertaining to 1718, but in 1819. So then there are late filers, and that is why your figures are getting updated in the detailed report that you are seeing, right? That you are seeing, right? But that has not been accounted for in the auto-populated figure in GSTR 9, right? So that is a major reason. I guess in such a scenario, the best thing that you can do is you reconcile that figure in PDF, in an Excel sheet, convert it into PDF. CA certification is not required, and attach it with your 9.
There is another question. What is the consequences if ITC is not reflecting in 2A?
So yeah, so if ITC is not reflected in 2A, technically speaking, government has every right, as the laws, to ask you to reverse that ITC. Okay, the best that you can do is the government has every right. You will be asked questions why the ITC is not getting reflected. You need to just try your best to ensure that you have all the relevant documentation with you and all the proof that the supplier has actually paid the tax. And maybe, if the officer gets convinced that, okay, it is a genuine case and the tax has actually been paid, but let us say at the part of the delay from the end of the supplier, it is not getting reflected, right? So that is there. So this is a consequence. As per law, as I said, straight away they can ask you to reverse that credit. That happens. uh, in few cases, they actually asked for phone numbers of those suppliers, and then they followed up with those guys and told them that, well, boss, why are you not filing your returns and all that. But this is something that we are, yet to see how the judiciary takes this up. And because at the end of the day, you have paid tax to you have paid tax, right, to your supplier. And if he has not paid the tax to the government, the taxpayer really feels harassed. But that is how the situation is right now. Only thing is that you can just be prepared with all the documents, have a affidavit if required from your customer, if from your supplier, if he says that, okay, there is a mistake from my end, have a affidavit. And yeah, that is how far that you can go on this scenario.
There is another question. They want to know which columns are mandatory and which are optional.
So there are a lot of columns which are optional. So wherever there is a detail, that is there in your books, that is mandatory. Okay. So as I said, there is some relief. Let us say, so if, for example, if you're not having a B2C transaction, there will be no entry over there. Okay. Now there is a relief. So in table 6, there is a relief that you don't have to give. So there might be actually inputs, capital goods and input services. So this is optional, that, okay, you just disclose an input. Okay. And your HSN is something, once again, which is which you might have the details, but it is optional to fill it up. So these are the two places where you might have the details, or ideally you should have the details, but it is optional. Apart from that, you just have to give details wherein your books of accounts, your books of accounts are having that is having that relevant information.
Okay. There is another question. Import ITC is not available in 2A. So how can you verify that if the import ITC is claimed is correct?
No, so import ITC is not available in 2A. And so definitely the way the form is structured, it does not form part of your 3B reconciliation also. So because the figure which goes in 3B in table number 8 comes from 6B, right? So it comes from 6B. So it comes from this item, this line item. So this line item does not have import figure. The import figure is over here. Your import figure is over here, which is there in import of goods. So whenever you are comparing with 2A, it does not there will be no mismatch because of input. Yes, as far as verification is concerned, you need to have relevant custom documents to verify that, okay, whether the import taken is correct or not. So yeah, you need to have relevant custom documents for that.
Okay. There is another question that has been asked several times is where do you report the tax amount that you've paid while DRC 03?
So there is no column as such wherein you can disclose the tax amount that you have paid through DRC 03 as such. Once again, as I said, if there is a difference between table 4 and table 9, you need to have a DRC 03 as a supporting. One view can be that is, DRC 03 came after a lot of time. So one thing that you should always take care is, let us say you found any discrepancies in 1819, and if there is some tax which is yet to be paid. Initially, what we used to do is we used to disclose in the 3B of the next period or next financial year. So this actually, messed up your 3B of next financial year as well. So you should definitely then disclose it. Yeah. So in that scenario, now you should definitely pay that only through DRC 03. You can take a view that you disclose that figure over here. So whatever figure is coming over here, okay. So if you are taking a view that, okay, I will be disclosing table 10, I will be disclosing the payment that I have done in the next financial year through DRC 03 over here, then you can show the tax payable and paid over here. So I think one thing that I need to check, is that if I have paid tax through DRC 03, whether it gets auto-populated over here or not. According to me, it does not get auto-populated over here, right? So any difference over here should have been ideally paid through DRC 03, and that should be our supporting.
Okay. Jigar, and many people are asking this question. Suppose RCM liability has not been discharged in 1819. So now the liability is still there. So I paid while filing 9. So can I still claim the ITC against that?
So ideally, the ITC of 1819, you are supposed to take till September 19, right? And according to me, if we go strictly through the books, you are not eligible for that ITC because you have missed that bus. Yeah, so there were so in GST, there is time of supply in which it is clearly mentioned by what time you need to pay tax in by what time you need to pay tax under RCM, right? So if you have gone beyond that, and you cannot say that, okay, like in service tax, okay, when I paid the tax, I will be from there on, the eligibility to take the ITC should arise. According to me, if it was of 1819, you have missed the bus and you cannot claim ITC of that. Raj, if you have a different view, you can definitely share over here.
I think I'll go with your view only. But there is a second view which is there with regard to this reverse charge missed out things. That reverse charge credit is basically taken on the basis of a self invoice. That self invoice is being generated when I make the payment. Basically, if there is a delay in generating the self invoice, then the self invoice is taken. Suppose 1819 related reverse charge is paid in 2020 today. Suppose I found something, then that payment I am doing now and that self invoice I am generating now. So therefore, people are that a view is taken that this self invoice is pertaining to this year, and therefore credit can be taken. But that is a very highly litigious thing. So therefore, only the amounts are very big, and that option can be explored. But for small amounts and where the it is not so much material, it would be not advisable to take such stands. So that is a view there.
Okay. So where do you report that liability, the RCM liability that you were not paid? So where do you report it now?
So once again, if there is an RCM liability that you have not paid, it will go over here in table 4G, right? So
Yeah.
once again, as I said in table 4, anything that you are supposed to pay is not paid yet, and if anything that you are supposed to pay is paid in the same year comes over here. So as soon as you report that figure over here in table 4G, then you will see that okay, it is not matching with your tax payable in table 9, and then from there on, you need to update your table 9, and then there will be a difference between tax payable in table 9 and what you have already paid. Differential has to be paid through DRC03.
Okay. And so the differential tax that has to be paid, will it compulsorily have to be paid with interest, or can it be paid without interest?
So you can file DRC03 without interest, but as per law, you have to pay interest. There is no escaping it.
Okay, and the interest, I believe, will be 18%, right?
So if it is for output, it is 18%. If it is for a wrong ITC, and if anything is payable because of reversal of ITC, it is 24%.
Okay. Now I think we can get to specific questions that people have. So there is another general question that I've been asked is, how do I track the record ITC of 10% and 20% in the books of accounts?
Okay, so how do you track that is what we have done is we have created different ledger. Okay, so there is an ITC ledger which gets accounted for as and when we get the invoice. While we are filing GSTR 3B, and there is 10% and there are invoices, right? Let us say that 10% or 20%, if there is amount that I see is not getting eligible to me, I'll just put that amount in a different ledger. Okay, I just put that amount in different ledger, and then I need to have a separate Excel sheet which will have a record of the invoices, which will have that record of the invoices which form part of that amount. That is one way to do that. The most tedious way to do this is doing it invoice wise, right? So you pass multiple entries. You get invoice. There is an invoice which goes in a control account of ITC control account, and then invoice wise you pass a JV as and where you see a 2A. As and when that invoice appears in 2A. So from that control account it goes into ITC eligible account, right? And that is how we should go about it. I think, according to me, what I will suggest to my clients is to keep these activities different, because it is not that the invoices that you have received in 2A, you are taking credit only of that. Now, there will be, because there is a room of 10% to 20%, there will be a certain amount of which there will be a certain amount that you are taking the credit, but invoice is not there. So out of the list of invoices which are not appearing in 2A, which forms part of the 10%, 20%, and which does not form part of that, and which is reversed, you have no way to distinguish that, right? So we should keep that activities parallel. You have a list of the invoices which are not there in your 2A. 10% to 20%, the figure above the 10%, 20%, which is addition, the figure about 10% and 20% room, or the figure which is there in your purchase, but you have not claimed the credit, just pass a different JV, just block that figure over here. In the next month, do the same activity and see how much you can release that figure from that the ITC which is blocked in that ledger.
Sir, this question is basically for the after October 2019 or 18-19 audits. This will not apply.
Yeah. This is a general question of
general question
relating to return filing.
Yeah. So there is one question. In case we have reversed Tran 1 credit in FY 18-19, then should it be shown in table 7G?
Yes, yes. So if the effect has been in 1819, it should be there in
Okay.
table 7G.
ITC has to be reversed, but has not been reversed in 3B. Can we reverse it through 9?
Yeah, you can reverse it through 9. So basically, what will happen is either there will be a discrepancy when you are reconciling with 2A and 3B, right? Because if it was supposed to be reversed, then it might not be in 2A, right? So that is one way to do it, and that is how there will be a difference in tax payable and paid. So there will be a negative figure over here, and then you can explain it and pay DRC 03 and explain it. Yeah, that is one way to do it.
Okay. So this tax that is now payable, can it be like the reversal that is due? Can the reversal be done using credit, or it has to be done in cash only?
I think uh, I think it can be done using the credit. In DRC 03, you can use credit to pay off your liability. So that is there. And while you are doing DRC 03, I don't think we have to mention anywhere that it is for the additional output liability or it is for reversal of ITC. We just have to explain the month, and in the definitely there is a remark column, but there is not a hard code field which can restrict you from claiming ITC. But interest has to be paid in cash, that's for sure.
Okay. Is table 15 mandatory to be filled?
Yeah, table 15 is, I don't think there is any relief over here. So yes, so if there is a refund or if there is a transaction which is falling under this paradigm, then you have to fill it. I don't see there is any relief. And I don't think that is this filling up this table should not be a challenge.
Yeah.
So there is one question which says that if we forgot to enter the sale transaction in 1 of June, but entered in GSTR 1 of September month, then the input to purchaser reflects in June month or September month. So to the receiver, it will reflect in September month's GSTR 2A. So there will be a return period which will be September month, but invoice date will be of June. So that can be easily identified.
Okay. There is a question, if table 8D is negative, whether the negative balance is to be reversed at the time of filing GSTR 9.
So if table 8 is negative, there is no rule that you have to mandatorily reverse the credit. But yes, you need to be ready with the explanation. If you say, if you are, if you know that this negative figure is because the taxpayer has taken additional credit, then it has to be reversed. But if you have your explanation that, okay, my supplier has not filled up, my supplier has not uploaded the details, or I have reversed in the next financial year. Like in our case, this is a negative figure. I have reversed it in the same financial year. So I have an explanation of 593 and approach 2.5 lakhs I have reversed in the next financial year. So that I am disclosing over here, 2,58,000. So while filing GSTR 9, I will not reverse anything separately. But hypothetically, let us say that I had already not done this 2.5 lakhs, I had already not done in the next financial year, then yes, while filing GSTR 9, I would have to reverse it.
Okay. There is a question, Tran 1 credit is still reflecting in ITC section of GSTR 9. So should we consider it or not, as the same is taken in FY 17-18?
No, so as I said, if the credit is taken in 17-18, so by that, if it has been reflected in your electronic credit ledger in 17-18, then you don't have to take it in 18-19. But as I said, if you are part of that exceptional people who got a facility to file Tran 1 after the due date, and they have filed, if they have filed in 18-19, then yeah, that will come in GSTR 9. So you have to see that when it has got credited in your electronic credit ledger, if it has got credited in 18-19, then that figure will come, otherwise it will not come.
Okay. There is a question, wrongly, IGST has been wrongly claimed, but the genuine ITC is CGST and SGST. So what is the solution for this? This is for 17-18, but I think this will also relate to 18-19.
Okay, so you are saying that you claimed IGST instead of CGST and SGST.
Yeah.
It
So
simply
I believe this question is for 17-18, where the annual return has already been filed.
okay. Okay. First, what you can do in 3B is you need to reverse IGST and then you need to claim CGST and SGST credit. Okay, this is what you can do in 3B. There is a circular which says that if there is an error in any of the 3B, you can rectify it in subsequent period. As far as GSTR 9 is concerned, it will be disclosed over here. So what I understand is that if you've already taken in 3B, then your table 6 will have the wrong figure, right? Your table 6 will have the wrong figure. IGST one call that you can take is when you are filling up 6B, you put correct figures over here. So over here in IGST there will be no figure. Over here in IGST there will be no figure, but in CGST and SGST there will be a figure. So there will be a difference in J column over here, which you need to explain. But this will not have any impact on your credit ledgers, right? So to have an impact in your credit ledgers, you need to rectify through GSTR 3B. This will be just a disclosure over here.
Okay. So there is a question from Richa. If I have claimed ineligible ITC in FY 18-19, should I reverse it now through 3B of July 20, or should it be reversed through DRC 03?
You should do it DRC 03. You can do it in both ways, but I would recommend you should do it in DRC 03 so that the figures of the previous year does not mess up with the current period's 3B. Otherwise, then when you are filing next year's return, you need to figure out, okay, why this figure came over here, right? So anything additional which is to be paid, you should always do it through DRC 03. I feel that government should also come up with something where you can also take ITC which we left off or which was not taken in the correct period. And similarly, we can take ITC through, instead of 3B, we take ITC through that mechanism. Otherwise, what happens is then there is a ripple effect where you messed up your 17-18. To rectify that, you messed up your 18-19. And then to rectify that, you messed up your 19-20, right? So as far as they remain exclusive, that will be better for everyone.
Okay. There is another question. Suppose RCM liability of FY 18-19 is paid in FY 19-20. Where do you report it in GSTR 9? Table 4 or table 10?
So so 18-19 you have paid in 19-20, right?
Yeah, RCM liability.
That goes in table 10.
Okay.
Additional liability.
Okay. If any ITC has been disallowed as it was blocked under section 17.5, then where is it required to be disclosed in 9?
Sorry, come again.
If any ITC has been disallowed as it was blocked under 17.5,
correct,
then where is it required to be disclosed in 9?
It's there. As per section 17.5. So, but this will come over here if you are filing the return on gross basis. So, if in 3B, you have disclosed gross and then you have shown reversal. A lot of people are doing just taking net amount while they are filing their 3B returns, right? So, if that is the case, it will not come over here. But if you are taking gross credit while filing 3B, and in 3B also you are showing reversal as per 17.5, then it will come over here. Apart from that, you will find a RICO difference between 2A, because in 2A there will be higher because your supplier might have entered those details, but you have not taken credit in 3B, right? So in that case, it will come over here. ITC available but ineligible.
Okay. So where would you report ITC of 17-18 included in 18-19?
So there is no way to report that as of now. I think there has to be a change in the form for that. There is no place to report that.
Okay. So there is a specific question in case of builders. In case of builder, receipts is shown instead of advance in B2C. And based on completion of event, difference is accounted in the next year in 3B. whether the provision is to be made in accounts on while finalizing accounts, since they are reporting income of percentage completion method.
I think this is completely irrelevant in terms of
Yeah.
this is a more of books of accounts question. So I guess the auditor will be a better person to
All
take that
right.
one.
Yeah. Okay. In case of high C sale, the same should be shown as non-taxable supply or non-GST supply in GSTR 9.
Yeah, so high C sales can be shown in exempt supplies.
Okay. And
There is one more relief. There is one more relief wherein you don't have to split your non-GST supply, exempt supply, and new-rated supplies. You can show everything in exempt supplies. So you don't really have to split, these three.
Okay. And shall the ITC availed in relation to the high C sale should also be reversed?
No.
Okay. There is a question, should we reconcile our turnover and tax payable with e-waybill portal in 9 and 9C?
So that will be a good exercise to be done, okay, from assessment perspective, because definitely there can be questions from the department, but it is not mandatory to do it while filing GSTR 9. There is no figure which asks for you to table a figure as per your e-way bill and your GST portal, your GST returns that you have filed.